أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد إذا المهدي وسلم تسليما السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brother and companion Hamid Riza.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Father.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Someone sent me a question that I would like to mention it and tell you about it. With your permission, I read the
Yes, please.
question. Hello, my brother Hamid Riza. I have a question, but I couldn't tell you because of some reasons and I was embarrassed. I've been divorced for 5 years and I have 2 children. I live with my kids and we are independent. In these 5 years, my family has not helped me and I have been working and managing my life on my own. To be honest, my question is, since the time I separated from my husband, I've been doing something I shouldn't be doing because of my living expenses, and I'm very upset about this. I always ask God to help me not to go towards this work, but it didn't happen, and now I don't know if I'm sinful because of this work or not. However, everything I've asked from God with my heart, He has given me. But whenever I ask Him to help me not to go towards this issue, it hasn't happened. My question is, since I'm doing this work and I'm very happy to have gotten to know the riser of the family of Muhammad, Abu Sadiq, peace be upon him, I read the book, but I'm afraid that Abu Sadiq, peace be upon him, will not accept me because of this issue. Thank God my living conditions are good, but I'm upset about this issue and I cannot deceive myself. I have a question. I don't have a husband and I have children, and because of my situation, I'm doing this work. Is this considered adultery? Otherwise, I believe in the 12 Imams and the 12 Mahdis. I even saw a dream of Abu Sadiq, peace be upon him. I even had a dream of Prophet Muhammad, but I cried a lot because the Prophet of God did not look at me in the dream. In my dream, he was very radiant, and they told me in the dream that he is the Prophet of God. At that time, I was studying the book when I had this dream. I was looking at him, but he was facing someone else and was talking to that person. I asked, "Who is he?" And they said, "He is the Prophet of God." Yes, I swear he did not look at me, and I still have not forgotten that dream. Yes, I had that feeling, but when I woke up, I just cried. I even told my mother, and she said, "You are lucky to have seen him." But in my dream, meaning another dream, I saw Abu Sadiq, peace be upon him, in the same form during the month of Muharram, and he was looking at me. But I felt that he was upset with me, or that's how I felt. On one hand, I was happy. On the other hand, I was sad, my brother. Please let me know his response, and I have accepted him lovingly and spiritually. I swear I'm writing this with my tears, my brother. I'm afraid he will say I'm sinful. Thank you, my brother. When will you let me know? Yes, just don't say it suddenly. He might get upset. Say that she's doing this out of necessity but does not want to. Thank you, my brother. I swear, first God, then Abu Sadiq, and after that, you, my faithful brother.
So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد إذا المهدي وسلم تسليما السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Peace and blessings and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes out to this pure soul, this good, pure woman who has written these words today that have touched my soul and heart. And I wanted to personally be the one who responds to her. First off, I want to say to her that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that she has had to feel this way. I'm sorry that she had to do that line of work which she so much hates. I'm sorry that she had to go through all of the pain and the suffering and the endless nights of guilt, wondering whether or not Allah and His Messenger would accept her. I'm sorry for all of the horrible things that she had to go through in order to put food on the table to feed her innocent children, while her family and the country, which proclaims itself to be a Muslim country, the un-Islamic Republic of Iran, stood by and did nothing about it. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if you see a poor person if you see somebody who's a poor person, meaning somebody, and the definition of poor with Muhammad and the family of Muhammad is somebody who has a need for something and he's unable to attain that need. If you see a poor person who is in need, then know at that moment that there was a rich person or somebody else who took more than their share. And that is the problem that has led her to be in the place that she's in. So I think that she's a victim. I don't think that there's anybody who works in prostitution, anybody who's forced to sell their body, anybody who's forced to be sexual and surrender themselves in exchange for money to total strangers on the street and then go back and have to face their children and look at themselves in the mirror. I don't think anybody does that out of lust or out of a desire to. People only do that out of a need to. I think that it is the state in which she lives, the government that is responsible for the fact that she is poor and unable to meet her needs. I think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger always ensured that they said and emphasized the need to take care of the impoverished in society and the weak in society, and certainly her as a divorced woman with children whose ex-husband and family members don't spend anything on her would be classified as a person that is in deep need. The state failed her, the community in which she lives in failed her, the Muslims that live around her failed her family failed her, everybody failed her, and she was unfortunately forced to go to what she did. I want her to know that she shouldn't feel any guilt, and she's not a sinful woman. She's a sinless woman, because I charge the regime and the people who took more than their share with rape. I think she's a victim of state-sponsored rape. I think that it is the society that normalized this type of behavior. You're an Iranian, and you know that these non-working scholars have issued disgusting fatwas that allow for men to go to scholars, and there were documentaries that were made about this and news pieces that were made about this. They have legalized in Iran this business where people will go to scholars and they will pay them in order that the scholars of Islam find for them a muta marriage or a woman that they could have pleasure with in a contract in exchange for money that would last only for like an hour or two. So that is the very definition of prostitution. That is a total twisting of the teachings of Muhammad and the family of Muhammad and what they made to be halal. They're the ones whom spread corruption in the land, normalized prostitution. They forced this woman to resort, and other women like her, many other women like her, to resort to seeing their body as a means to gain income, while at the same time forcing the women in society to wear hijab, and they proclaim themselves to be the guardians of Islam and the representatives of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. It is these people, the non-working scholars that did this, that Muhammad and the family of Muhammad described as being the worst creatures under the sky. Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, they didn't call the homosexuals the worst creatures under the sky. They didn't call the prostitutes the worst creatures under the sky. They called the scholars the worst creatures under the sky. And it is them that will receive the full penalty and the sin and the blame on the day of judgment for everything that you had to go through. When you saw the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your dream, I want you to know that that is a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even the narrations say that there's nobody that sees the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a dream except that they're saved. And this is like a glad tidings that they will enter into heaven. The fact that she saw him, the fact that she saw me, the fact that she said that she felt like I was upset with her. This part of feeling, this is a feeling that represents her own self. It's because the guilt that she has in her heart from these scholars that she felt this reflection, but it doesn't represent what it is that I feel towards her. My heart is filled with nothing but compassion and mercy and love and respect and admiration for her and for every other woman on this planet that is forced to do something like this. I think she's a national hero. I hope that God preserves her story and her legacy and raises her remembrance until the end of time and preserves it in the books in the same way that God preserved the incident where Jesus, peace be upon him, was defending the woman from being stoned by the non-working scholars. It is the exact same thing today with this woman. And I want to let her know that her slate is clean. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive her for any other sins that she has. And I think that it was the tears that fell down her face already washed her slate clean. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless her and bless her household. And I'm proud of her for being that example of somebody who was sincere. If it wasn't for her sincerity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't have led her to this religion, to this path, into accepting the Imams and the Mahdis, into accepting the concept of the supremacy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making her a true monotheist in a time where most people reject the divinely appointed leader, and in a time where most people are polytheists and they are from the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his anger is upon them. I offer her too, if she does want to find a husband, or if she's looking for a good, decent Iranian man, I am sure that I have lots of followers, pure followers, true believers in this call that in an instant would be willing to marry this woman and take care of her and take care of her children and be a true husband and role model and father to her children and adopt them as if they are her own. So if that's something that she's interested in, I hope that she does reach out, and I know that she's in contact with you. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless her. And I want to take this opportunity to talk to all of those people that are right now, like her, kind of in a shy manner, peeking through this door that they perceive to be open this wide, asking, "Oh, Master, do we have a chance too of entering into the kingdom of heaven?" I want to take this opportunity to kick down that door, to open it, in the widest way possible. I want to talk to her. I want to talk to all of the people that consider themselves to be prostitutes, when the real prostitutes are the rulers of the nation of Iran and all of these other people that were not appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that speak in the name of God and that rule in the name of God. Those are the ones that are the true prostitutes. Those are the ones who are the true sin bearers. I want to talk to the people that consider themselves to be sinful. I want to talk to them. I want to talk to the murderers. I want to talk to the criminals. I want to talk to the drug dealers. I want to talk to the destitute. I want to talk to the poor. I want to talk to all of these individuals, and I want to give them a glad tidings, and that's that Hassan said that the divine just state will be built on their hands. That's what Imam al-Mahdi Muhammad ibn Hassan said. The divine just state will be built on their hands, because they are the ones that have the courage and the ability to make change. They're the ones that were squashed by society and stepped on and trampled on and destroyed and forced to do things that left them and left their hearts so strong that it no longer fears anything except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you, for being an example and a shining light for all of these people. Thank you for being a woman who had enough courage to confess her sins, go back home and preach this dawah and this call, and let everybody know the stance of the Qa'im of the family of Muhammad and of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam and the Amani of the family of Muhammad, and bring those people to us together. Together, we can live in harmony and we can build a world that is free from these fitna makers. It is these non-working scholars that if they would step out of the way, all the crimes in the world would disappear. The Christian, the Jew, the Muslim, the atheist, the Baha'i, the practitioner of Vodun or Mukumba, the Hindu, the Buddhist, all of these people would be able to live together in harmony. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is these non-working scholars that are instigating, aggravating, and being a pawn for the tyrants that are ruling in the name of God to separate us and to cause war, havoc, terrorism, fitna. And if we all just come together as human beings and show mercy towards one another, we can turn this earth into a paradise once again.
Thank you very much, Father. And by Allah, you are the Jesus of our time. You are the Muhammad of our time. You are the Ali ibn Abi Talib of our time. You are the only body who represents God and the mercy of God in this time.
I don't need anything except for me to be Abdullah of the time. That's what I really seek to be, the servant of Allah in this time. And the servant of Allah is the servant of Allah truly by being a servant of the people of Allah. And this woman and the likes of this woman are the people of God, and I'm proud to be a servant of them. And I love them all very much, and I love you very much. And thank you for bringing this question to me. And God bless you, Hamid Riza.
Thank you so much, Father.
Assalamu alaikum.